Alright, hey everyone, it's Simon Hurley from Inklipse. It looks like we're live right now. I wanted to hop on live today to share a really cool thing that I kind of discovered as I was playing around today. So I'll wait for a few more of you to come in. It's kind of an impromptu little live stream. I didn't really plan on doing this today, but I got really excited by what I kind of discovered and was playing with that I really wanted to share it with all of you pretty quickly. So instead of filming a whole video and editing it, I wanted to come here on live and share that today. So hopefully this is going to be a pretty quick live so that anybody watching the replay as well can kind of see it really quickly as well and not really have to go through a long stream. So hey everyone, to everyone who's joining in, I'm looking off to the side as always for comments. So be sure to interact during the stream and I can see your comments and chat with all of you throughout the stream. Awesome. Hi everybody. I've been gone for like a little while, maybe like a week, and I was drawing and kind of taking a break and you know, designing some new stuff. So I'm really excited for some of the new stuff that's coming from Simon Hurley Create pretty soon and also in the future. It all looks awesome and is turning out really great. Hey everyone. Hey from Florida. Awesome. Okay, thanks for joining in, guys. Now let's turn down the camera. And also, as we do the stream, I always mention this, but if you want to shop any of the supplies from today's video, it really does help me out if you use my links. So there's links down below in the description, and also I will leave a link right now in the chat that says shop today's supplies. If you click on that, you can get picture links to all of the supplies that I'm using today to multiple sources. It really does help me out. It gives me a little bit of a percentage kickback at no extra cost to you, which just helps kind of support this channel. Awesome. Miami, Australia, that's so cool. Maine, Tennessee. Hey everyone. Okay, so let's, Krista said that she recently purchased all my inks and is super excited to try them. Well, we're going to be doing a fun video with my inks tonight, so I'm super excited as well. So let's turn down the screen. Here is what I kind of discovered today. So I was working with some of the Simon Hurley Create inks for another video, which you'll see very soon. And here is what I discovered. So I have this stencil called Backsplash, and I was just kind of playing with it. And you know, you get a really nice design just stenciling it once, but if you move and shift the stencil and kind of play around with it, you can get some really cool effects using multiple colors. And then I kind of went hog wild with a couple of the other stencils, playing around with them, and we're going to do some of this in today's video. So let's get started. Let's jump right into it. I am super overjoyed about this because you get some really cool uses out of it. And let me just tell you, I always look for new ways that I can use products, especially if you already have the products or things like that, to kind of stretch those supplies, because I know, you know, we all don't have a huge budget. We all don't want to buy every single thing. So even with this simple Stargazer stencil, if you have this stencil, it really does quite a bit more than just stenciling it out regularly. So I wanted to share that in today's video. Awesome. Okay, so let's move down and let's get started. So I've cut down some panels of my stark white cardstock into card base size. Now I like to use the stark white cardstock. It works best in my opinion with my inks, but you could totally use whatever you want. I also want to mention, if you're having trouble with your inks, it's usually not the ink unless if you have a low quality ink. But if you're getting your inks from like Ranger or something where they're high quality, really nice inks, make sure you're using high quality cardstock as well, because that really does help and really matters with how it blends. Sometimes like here, when I was testing it out, I didn't use this dark white, and in some places you can see it's kind of weird, it overlaps, it kind of replaces colors rather than building on top of each other. Hey Jess, thanks for joining in. Okay, so let's get started with this. I'm going to take my Backsplash stencil, and I'm just going to lay it down. This is from the Simon Hurley Create line, and I'm just going to magnet this down. Now I'm using the station. I actually forgot to link that today, but this is Wendy Vecchi's surface, and it's kind of this magnetic sheet with these really strong, nice magnets on it, so my project isn't going to move as I'm blending. I'm going to create kind of the background that I did earlier because I think it looks super cool. So I'm using Slippery When Wet, which is that really nice, bright, vibrant yellow color. I'm going to take it on my mini ink blending tool, and then all I have to do is just start blending, and it's simply just, you know, that circular motion that you're used to using. I'm not going to go all the way to the edges. I usually just like to fade out my backgrounds into white. If you wanted to go to the edges, you could just use a little bit of tape, or you could also kind of move the magnets a little bit further to the edge. I'm just going to blend this out here because I'm just going to add a little critter on top afterwards. Oh, thank you so much, Janet. That's so awesome of you. I really appreciate that. It really helps support the channel. And you said you're enjoying my vlogs. That's so awesome. Thank you, Janet. So after I've got this color laid down, I'm going to pull this off. Nikki, that's so awesome. This is your first live you've made. Okay, so here's what the stencil looks like normally, and I absolutely am in love with just this stencil by itself. There's my dog barking. You might hear them. But I'm absolutely in love with what this stencil creates, but I was kind of playing around with it today, and if you move the stencil around, you can get some really cool results. So I'm just going to shift the stencil. It was right here. Right, it was right there. I'm going to shift it so that center part is now in that little diamond area. And then to make sure that it's centered, just kind of wiggle it around, make sure it's in the exact same place on all of the spots. It's kind of a geometric stencil, so you should know when it kind of lines up with everything else. Then I'm going to place the magnets down. You can see it's kind of offset just a little bit, but that's going to give us a really cool design. So I'm using traffic cone. Now my inks are buildable. They're those translucent inks. So what this is going to do is it's going to create new colors when it kind of goes over top of that yellow and hits those points, which is really cool. So I'm going to just blend this out. On my example, it kind of looks like a pinkish color because when it overlaps with that yellow, it creates that kind of pink hue there. So it's really cool. That's what I love about these, and using my Stark White cardstock is really great for the layering. Some cardstocks, like the one that I was like testing it out on, will like replace the color. So instead of layering it on top of each other, it'll replace it, and it's all about kind of the surface of the cardstock. So here is where I'm going to lift this off. Now I might have wanted to go in with a lighter hand. Of course, the more you build it up, the more color there's going to be. So you might not be able to see as much of the color underneath. So if you go with a little bit of a lighter hand, you can kind of see all of the layers. So you might want to do that. Then, if I want to clean this off, it's pretty simple. I'll just go in with a little bit of water. It's super easy to clean off my inks. All you have to do is just quickly spray down your stencil. Kind of be careful with the stencils because they got some little pieces in there. Awesome, so let's pull this back on. And how did I do this? I moved the stencil one more time. I mean, once again, you can kind of play around with the placement of how this works. I don't know exactly what I did, to be honest. Let's see. I think I went here with it. That looks about right. Okay, so I'm going to place it right in the center of another diamond. So again, it's just kind of like finding a place to kind of repeat that pattern, I guess. I hope you guys are still here. I'm not seeing too many comments, but hopefully that means you are enjoying the stream. Oh, awesome, Jess. She said, is anybody going to Simon's event? That is a great thing to bring up. We are having a fun event in New Jersey at Ranger. So if you want to check that out, be sure to check out rangerink.com and check out my little kind of designer profile there. You can see all the places that I'm visiting for classes. So I'm visiting around Wisconsin this year, and then I'm also going to New Jersey as well, which will be so much fun. It's a really great kind of weekend event, and it's going to be a really great experience, and you're going to get your hands on some of my newest release when you go as well. This isn't looking as pretty as the example that I made, so let's just ignore that. Because I used orange and blue together, it did make kind of like a brown shade, so not as beautiful as my example, really at all. I just created kind of a brown there, but you can kind of see the effect that it gives. It does give a really, really cool effect. I always like to leave in my mistakes when I do something like this and make that brown color, because my inks do layer up, and if you layer up the wrong colors, sometimes they can create kind of a darker, muddy color. So be sure to follow the color wheel kind of when you're doing this, so maybe say in the warms or cool families to make sure, but honestly, I kind of still dig this background. I think it looks really cool. It's almost like, you know, when you put on the 3D glasses, it kind of creates those like two-toned kind of background. It's kind of trippy, but I really love how it looks. Everybody's saying they still like it. Thanks so much. Yeah, where the brown isn't, it looks super cool. So be sure to play with the colors that are going to kind of match. Maybe you want to put bee sting over top instead, and that'll kind of give a really cool effect. But look, here's my example that I shared. I went with a lighter hand on this too, and that could also be why it wasn't as much ink that I was putting down, but it still is a really cool effect. You can see this one's more pastel. This one I went in with a little bit more heavy hand. So, awesome. Okay. Somebody said they love the colors, even the brown. Thank you very much. I thought that it was kind of a fun background, but yeah, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult getting that brown color. Oh, Jess, it's about a 6-hour drive from you. Well, I would love to see you there. No pressure, though. Nobody has to come, but it's going to be a really fun event, and I am so excited for it. We're kind of planning things already and planning out the classes, and it's going to be tons and tons of fun. Just 2 full days of creating, which is going to be awesome. Yeah, the brown does really enhance the colors because it gives that contrast. I really do agree that it gives the contrast in between there. Belinda, keep your eyes out. Keep your eyes out. I'm not going to spill anything, but keep your eyes out in the near future, I'd have to say. Okay, so now I'm going in with the Looks Like Rain stencil. You could tell your husband you're being forced to go, well, that might be nice as well, because then, you know, then we'll have some fun times there. It's going to be really awesome, and yeah, you're going to have to tell your husband that you're being made to go, and then he'll buy you a ticket. So I'm going to just bring in a little bit of Clear Skies. Again, just ink blending down here. Okay, so then I'm going to lift off my stencil, and this one isn't like a geometric pattern like the other one is, but what we can do is kind of move around the stencil until you find, once you see that most of it is like covered up by the rest of the stencil, that's a good place to drop down your magnets, put down your stencil. Let's see, what color should we use? Let's use a little bit of Overzealous. I think this will go nicely together. We're not going to get any brown with these two because they go together really nicely. Just going to go in here. Of course, this isn't really the color of rain, but it's just a card. I always say that, you know, you don't have to completely follow real colors. Hello from Singapore. That's so awesome. Hi, Joe. Okay, so look at that. So even just like the simplest things like this can be super cool. I'm going to wipe this off, and you just get a whole new look with 3 colors in it, which I think is awesome. Instead of just doing that one colored background or just using it in one area and doing different colors, you can get some really cool effects. I'll move it even one more time. Let's try this. And these stencils aren't really made to do this, which is why I love it, because you're just kind of getting a little bit more use out of stencils that were just designed to be used, you know, one time like a regular stencil. But you can do this with most stencils. You just kind of have to practice, test it out, and don't be afraid in case if you ruin it. Okay, and so look at, once that's done, we got the 3 colors, the raindrops. It kind of gives a little bit more depth to the stencil. Yes, that's so awesome, Jess. Yeah, a circle, little spotlight with color in there too could be a really cool way to kind of mask it off and create a really cool effect. But I love how this looks. I think it gives a little bit more depth with the 3 different colors and filling a little bit more area in. I think it looks super cool, and I can just imagine a little critter on here from my Bestest Friend stamp set. Charlotte asked, how fast does this ink dry? So when we're ink blending, it dries super fast. I'm on my stark white cardstock. Again, it always matters. Cardstock always matters, whether it's drying time, whether it's how the ink reacts. It's kind of just the surface that you put it on matters just as much as the ink. So don't buy crappy cardstock. If you want to try out my cardstock, it's called Stark White Cardstock. It comes in 8.5 by 11 sheets, and it's super bright white and works great with these. Again, I'll have it listed down below. I'll even paste the supplies link in there if you want to check it out. Give it a try. You won't be disappointed. Oh, Jess says she loves my shirt. Thank you. You ordered your ink refills because you want to paint with it. That's super awesome. So I'm going to grab, let's see, I'll grab Remember Me. I'm just going to show you how fast it dries. So I'm going to ink blend this down. And once I'm done with that, I'm just going to take my finger and rub it across the surface. And I mean, there's a little bit of ink on my finger there, You can see that like tiny little bit, that's going to wash off with water, but nothing moved on my cardstock. There's no kind of blue seeping out. It dries pretty darn fast, and of course you're not supposed to rub your finger across it, but it dries pretty darn fast. But what I love about my inks, and I'm kind of was surprised when I first got them, is that even though it dries fast, you can still kind of go in here and blend it together. So even some of those harsh marks that are on the edge there blend together. I like to say it kind of eats away, like both colors kind of eat away at each other, and it creates that new color in between there. Really, they're just like translucent inks that are layering up, and so it's going to kind of dry pretty fast and create that cool effect. And also, no matter how long you wait, it's always going to be reactive with water as well, so you can get those really cool effects with water on it as well with your inks. Awesome. Who's moderating? It's actually just me. I have a screen off to the side of me, and I'm reading all of your comments as I'm crafting. So that's tons of fun. Let's do one more background with my stencil. So let's bring you guys back down here. I'm going to use the Stargazer stencil last. So this is kind of the last of my first release. There is that flower stencil as well. I've already shared tons with that, and you can't really like move it around, and you can flip it though to get a really cool effect, but that one's more for building up the florals. Awesome. And you can see, look, if you dried it right away, it kind of stops, but if you let it go, it kind of keeps reacting and creates those really cool looks. And again, that stark white cardstock does kind of enhance that effect, which I love. So let's get in here with the Stargazer stencil. I'm going to quickly lay that down, and then let's go in with, let's see, I'll actually just go in with Clear Skies again. I'm just going to go into here with the Clear Skies color. And again, we're just kind of going to fade it around the edge. I don't go right up to the edge usually, just kind of fading it out into that white color. I'll lift off my stencil, and again, it's super quick. So I'm going to wash off my stencil. Oh, Jess says she loves the Stargazer stencil. Yeah, it's really awesome for galaxy backgrounds or things like that. It really does a great job. So of course you could do what I did before. Actually, I'll show you two different ways of doing this one. And I mean, really, you can do this on all of them. So let's do the first way that I've kind of been sharing, where you kind of just move the stencil a little bit. You can even like rotate it completely like this and find some space that's going to fit. So let's go in here, let's do some Over the Moon. This is my lighter yellow color, and it does some really awesome things. It's like a super bright, kind of almost buttery yellow color. It's a really great one. And I like it usually for like brightening up color when you're doing ink blending. It does a really great job at kind of brightening up the colors when you lay it down. So look at that. So you can of course do that across the whole background if you want to. I know it looks a little funky with those edges there, but you can of course do it across the whole background, and that creates a cool background. But let's do one more thing. I'm going to spray down my stencil again. Again, it cleans up simply and easily with just some water. That's one thing I love about my inks. You don't really need any harsh cleaners. They're not going to stain your stamps or anything like that. I'm going to go in here. Let's grab this. Awesome. So let's see, I'll go in with some rosy cheeks this time. Yes, definitely. Kind of more, yeah, like you said, more of a confetti, celebratory kind of thing. I use these stars as not just a galaxy. I use them as kind of that confetti as well. It does a really great job at that. Or like cards where it says you are a star as a sentiment is really awesome for just doing exactly that. So I'll lift this up. Here we've just got this, but if you have ones with just like images like this, it's not really like a geometric design per se. I'm going to just place it down again, exactly how we had it, but then I'm going to move it just a tiny bit and just shifting it. You can kind of shift it whatever way you want, whether it's up, down, to the side. And this just gives a little bit of a drop shadow. So I'm going to go in with, again, Over the Moon. This is a lighter color. Usually do the lighter colors for the drop shadows because it's not going to cover up that pink. It's going to go on top of the pink and create kind of a new color where it is, but it'll also create that nice shadow there. Ooh, Krista said good stencil for 4th of July. Exactly. This one is kind of a great all-around stencil. Somebody said they love the pink stars, but yes, this one creates a fun one as well with those, you know, you can just move the stencil a little bit to get that drop shadow. So there's tons of things you can do with these stencils. How many ink colors are there? There's 12 for now. Wink, wink. Keep emailing Ranger if you want to see new colors. It's always kind of awesome if you keep buying the colors. Of course, we're going to keep making new colors. So yes, there's 12 colors for now, but if you guys keep enjoying them, there might be more in the future. Okay, so let's turn down again. So let's just kind of review some of the things that we did. We did this star background with the shadow. We did this one where you kind of turned the stencil. Then we did this one with the rain, which I love this depth in here. And I also shared this one. Now here I kind of did a little bit of an oopsie. You guys said you kind of liked the brown though for the contrast that it adds with the other colors. But if you want it to look like this, maybe follow a little bit more color theory. Maybe do it a little bit lighter so you can kind of see through it. But there's lots of different backgrounds you can create. And these were all out of stencils that weren't really designed to be layered up like this with all different colors. So play around with your stencils. If you have mine, be sure to bring out your Simon Hurley Create inks, bring out your Simon Hurley Create stencils, and start crafting. And of course, there's links down below to all the supplies we used in today's video. Will you ever release a black ink pad? Maybe. I'm not quite sure. I didn't want to do it in my first release. I wanted to stick with colors because I use colors a lot in my cards, but I also do use a lot of black ink as well, so maybe on that one. I'm not going to keep talking too much about my release though, because I don't want to spoil anything, but there's going to probably be something soon, so keep your eyes out on all my social media so you guys can see when our next release is. Yes, Krista, I did that kind of on purpose, so there's two tones for most of the colors. I'm not going to finish these on camera because I don't love to take up too much of your time with these streams. I know people don't love when I do that either, but you've got this Space Training stamp set, which of course goes nicely with the stars, so if you want to stamp something on there, that's always great. And then the Bestest Friends one, of course, kind of goes along with the rain. We kind of do that on purpose, that you get, you know, that stencil that kind of coordinates along with these stamp sets as well. So yeah, there's tons of other stamp sets too. There's Trampoline Friends and Dudes too. And of course those would look good on the geometric backgrounds as well. Sometimes I just like stamping the images down in black and coloring them in with grays, just kind of shading them, especially when you have something really bold like these backgrounds. It kind of works nicely to just do that and not do too much coloring. So awesome. Oh, the purple and blue rain, I was testing those out beforehand. But yeah, those were really fun too. These were what I tested out today while I was filming another video. Let me share it on here. While I was filming another video, I tested these out and kind of saw these. Let's see. What's the longevity of the ink, Belinda? Can you wait to purchase the reinkers? Yes, you can wait to purchase the reinkers. They do last quite a long time. Now, I have to say, though, if you're doing tons of like straight to paper techniques or anything like that, or if you're doing like tons and tons and you're using them every day, maybe purchase reinkers. It's always a good idea. It's kind of like a second life to your ink pads. Now, I'm going to assure you, I think, I'm pretty positive that my colors aren't going to retire anytime soon, so I don't like when that happens, and I don't think we're going to do that. So you're kind of safe buying them and not buying reinkers at first, and of course, if you need them, you can always purchase them. But I do have lots of techniques you can do with the reinkers as well, because they're that fun water-based ones. Okay, awesome. Yeah, Jess just said she hasn't needed a reinker yet. Yeah, I have had ink pads for a long, long time without needing a reinker. But if you're super ink heavy with them, you might want to. The brushes I'm using, these maybe, are mini ink blending tools. You can buy them from Ranger. Links down below. I'll link my product supply list one more time, and I think that concludes today's live stream. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. Kind of an impromptu, kind of short little stream, which I liked. Be sure to give it a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Be sure to comment down below after the stream if you're watching the replay which background was your favorite and if you're going to be trying this technique. And also be sure to hit that subscribe button if you aren't already to join the family and never miss another video like this one from me. Oh, Christina, yeah, they're definitely going to be around for a while. We're not planning on retiring any of the colors. I don't like when companies do that, because if you buy something and they retire them, you just feel like you missed out. So I don't like doing that, and I don't plan on doing that as well. Awesome. I'll see you guys very soon for another card making and crafting video. I have one coming up very soon that I edited tonight that I'm super excited for, and I am off on a trip to Junkie Fest in Minnesota. So I have to go pack for that. We're doing a fun make and take over there. If you're going to be there, I cannot wait to see you, and I'll see you all very soon for another card making and crafting video. Oh, and also, if you want to see kind of my behind the scenes journey, follow me on Instagram at inklipse, same way it's spelled down below, and you can kind of see our fun trips, concerts, anything that we do, and kind of behind the scenes stuff. Awesome. Bye guys. Have a great night.